So 90% of my sales are made on Instagram stories, and this is the case for most businesses. There are a few reasons for this, one being that they appear at the top of a user's feed, which ensures high visibility and engagement. Stories also give you the opportunity to show your business in real time, which kind of builds urgency and credibility. And of course, features like being able to add links to external pages makes it so much easier to make those sales. So in this video, I'm going to be teaching you exactly how you can get the most out of your Instagram stories by making more sales than you ever have on the platform. And if you stick around until the end of this video, I'll show you some exact templates that I use to sell my own digital product, the Ultimate Content Planner and Calendar, which by the way, you should definitely check out if you struggle to stay consistent on social media. This video is sponsored by Metricool, more on them later. In order to actually make sales on your stories on Instagram, you want to first think about getting more views, because obviously the more eyeballs on your Instagram stories, the higher the chance you have to actually make more sales. So 2 quick tips on how to get more views on your stories. Number 1 is only post new stories once the previous stories have expired, so 24 hours later. If you are feeling impatient and you don't want to wait until your stories expire, then you can just archive those stories or delete them and then just post something fresh. Another really key strategy is posting a story sequence instead of random scattered updates throughout the day. So every time you do post, aim to post at least 3 to 5 slides in one go. Where, for example, if you want to share text on screen, then you can split that between multiple slides. And why is it important to spread text out anyway? Because our attention spans on social media are terrible and no one wants to read long chunks of text. But if it's broken up into digestible, smaller pieces of text, it becomes much easier to read and go through. Tip number 2, if you really want more story views, then share more about your personal life. People are more likely to engage with your personal updates rather than your business content. Every time I share my personal life content, my story views skyrocket. This is because people are nosy. They want to know what is going on in your life in real time. And when followers engage with those stories, like for example, liking it, reacting to it, sending a DM response, which people generally do more when it comes to personal stories, Instagram will see that as a signal to push that story to more viewers, and then your story will be the first on the list for all of your followers. If you do want a more detailed breakdown on how to get more story views, then let me know in the comments. I can make an entire video going on and on and on about how to increase your engagement on your stories and how to make sure your followers are seeing your stories every single time. Let me know in the comments and I'll make an entire video dedicated to that. So now let's get into sales, how to actually sell on your stories. But before we get into sales, I really want to tell you a little bit about today's sponsor, Metricool. Metricool is a scheduling tool that I have recently actually switched my entire business over to after testing it for around a month. And honestly, my team and I have become so obsessed with this platform. Calling it just a scheduling tool doesn't actually do it justice, because you can do so much more than schedule out a month's worth of content from your social media platforms. But you can also actually reply to all comments in one place from every single platform that you have registered with Metricool. You can have access to all of your analytics. You can download them all for yourself or your clients. But honestly, my favorite feature is their competitor analysis feature. If you didn't know already, I always talk about how my most winning and successful content on social media is mostly content that is inspired by other people's content and then recreating it and making it more authentic to me. I have spoken about this strategy for the longest time. It's got me millions of views, and honestly, Metricool has made this system so much easier and more effective for me. All you need to do is add the name of the account that you want to keep an eye on, aka your competitor. Once they're added to your list, and by the way, you can add up to 100 competitors, you can sort their content out by most comments or highest engagement, and then you get to view and analyze their successful content, like the hashtags they've used, the topics they've spoken about, the format they've used, the copy in that content, literally everything. And then you just take notes and use their winning content as a guide for your content strategy. Now, every time when I plan short form content for the month, I open Metricool, I snoop in on my competitors and use their content as a guide to create my own viral content, which has worked for me on countless occasions, might I add. So you can find the link to sign up below in this video's description. And don't forget to use my discount code, which I will put on the screen, to get even more features unlocked. And now back to how to sell on Instagram stories. Firstly, just posting about your offer in a couple of slides on your Instagram stories and then saying buy now at the end with a link to your sales page is not selling. The first thing you actually need to do is get your audience to first self-identify with where they already are. And this can be done regardless of what you sell and what niche you are in. So step 1 is show them where they are right now. What are they currently doing and why is it not working for them? You want to make your audience feel like, oh my god, this person is in my head right now. So for example, using my content planner as an example, instead of saying, do you want to go viral? Then buy my planner right now. I would say something like, so you're struggling to show up on social media every single day. It takes hours to come up with an idea most of the time. And when you do post, it's probably come from something you've thought of just on the spot. And there's never much thought and strategy behind it. Can you see the difference? I'm actually getting specific with what my audience is doing. Step 2 is where you explain how you uniquely solve that problem. And you don't solve that problem by just saying, oh, here's my digital product, buy it now. And then you just attach a link. You actually share your method. What is different about your product or your service? If you're not clearly explaining your process in your sales, then you're missing out. And this is where you say, this is what I focus on, and here's why it works. For me, I would list out all the features of my product that would solve their specific problems. So for example, they're struggling to stay consistent. Well, I have a calendar view on my planner where you can see every single day that you have content for and the days you don't have content for. You can also see where your deadlines are to get content completed. I would also showcase that not only do I have a place for them to plan all of their content, but I have an exact process of how they can find new ideas for their content so that they're no longer just sitting there staring at a blank screen and have no idea what kind of ideas to come up with. If you can clearly articulate why your method does get results, everything changes. Now your audience can see through your stories, this is where I'm stuck. This is what I'm struggling with. Oh my gosh, Nyla has a solution and it's different to all the other solutions out there. And now I understand why it will work for me. Another great strategy is to tell the origin story of your offer. What I mean by that is, when did you come up with the idea for the offer? And what is the story behind it? Can you talk about the exact moment that that idea came to life? And what was the problem that you had before and then you found the solution to? For example, as a social media manager, my backstory for this content planner and organizer that I've created was that I was managing up to 10 accounts for different clients, and I needed a way to organize, plan, and stay consistent in creating content for them. I needed a process that was going to be quick and effective and where it would actually get them results. And ultimately, that's where my content planner and calendar came in, where I could plan, organize, and be super efficient with my clients' content and my own content. And that's why now I want to share it with my audience, because I feel like it could do so much to benefit them as well. You also need to show that you embody what you're teaching, or you embody what you're providing and selling. Whatever your offer is, you need to show that you are living and breathing what you're trying to sell. And you need to show that as well in your stories. What are you selling and how are you actively embodying that every single day? For me, I need to show that I'm actively using my content planner every single day. I need to show that I'm able to stay consistent on social media because of that planner. Show how you live what you teach. Another thing that really helps with selling your offer on stories is constantly sharing social proof at the end to kind of like seal the deal. It's kind of like sharing an elaborate story and then showing screenshots to prove it. So make sure that as much as you possibly can, you're sharing testimonials from people that have bought your product or your service. You can share Stripe payments that people are buying your service or your product. You can share things like student wins or results people have had when buying your product or your service. Anything that is basically proof that your offer works. Another powerful strategy is leveraging your audience's fear of missing out. For example, let's say you've just posted your offer on your stories and you've made some sales. You don't want to keep that to yourself. You want to let people know. Show them that people are taking action and making the investment. This creates social proof and urgency, and it will make everyone else feel like they don't want to be left behind. You can do this by sharing screenshots and purchase confirmations, by saying something like, 5 people have already grabbed this today. I'm so excited for it to change your life. I also really want you to think about setting up DM automations. So instead of manually responding to every single inquiry or just setting up a link, you can set up automated responses that send relevant information straight away, making that buying process for your followers super easy. You can set up DM automations on platforms like Manychat. That's actually a tool that I personally use myself. If you want to sign up for Manychat or want to know more about how it works, then you'll find a link in my description. You basically can choose specific keywords related to your offer, like planner, guide, or course, that people can respond to your stories with, and then Instagram automatically sends them a preset response with all the details of your offer. And then you can use this as an opportunity to give even more details about your offer in the DMs directly. Now I'm going to give you 2 exact templates that you can follow today to make some sales. Step 1 is open Instagram, go to your story section. Step 2, film a 15-second video using this exact script. In case you don't know, I help X with Y. Is this something you need help with? Vote below. Step 3 is create a poll, one side saying yes and one side saying not right now, but thanks. Step 4 is to publish the story, and everyone that votes yes, send them a DM with the details of your offer. Remember, you can also improve this entire sequence with all the tips that I shared above. The next story idea is to just put a poll up asking your followers if they've ever bought from you before. And then the ones that vote no, send them a DM. Send them a DM with a discount code for one of your products or your service as a thank you for being a valuable follower. If you enjoyed this video and you felt like you learned a thing or two, then make sure you're subscribed because I post videos like this every single week. You could also maybe give it a like if you want to, because that really helps with the growth of my channel, and I'm really trying to hit 20,000 subscribers soon. I'm almost there. And with that, I will see you next week.